everyone, my name is Marcus and you're watching the Reef Nerd YouTube channel. I haven't done a product review in quite a while, so I thought today it was about time I did another one. So I'm going to review Reef Revolutions Polyp Feast. In my opinion, the powdered coral food market has been pretty stagnant for quite a while. There are a lot of old staples that everyone knows, like reefroids, and certainly it has its fans, as well as producing a good feeding response from corals that is undeniable. However, there are some criticisms of the product, as it has a tendency to dissolve very quickly and not provide much particulate to the tank. That is, that fine floating dust that you can visibly see. It has also garnered a reputation for being pretty rough on your phosphate levels, which can be a problem for some reefers, particularly those that are already having nutrient issues. On the other hand, however, it's one of the only products on the market to have been included in some formal scientific studies. Often cited study published in the Journal of the Marine Biological Association of the United Kingdom back in 2011 tested a series of coral foods available on the market at the time. They showed reefroids to be the best performer of the bunch, and it performed with a 7.5% weight gain in the corals tested over a period of 3 months. As a result, Polyp Lab marketed that very heavily at the time, and it possibly helped them become the benchmark of many foods that it's compared against, and one of the most popular foods in the hobby today. However, with more recent studies, we can see that this is actually a pretty poor result. A 2018 study which incorporated into their testing freshly collected unfiltered live seawater from a reef found that it outperforms reefroids in synthetic salt water by a factor of 5. That's huge. Thus, while reefroids may have been superior to other common aquarium diets, or at least it was back in 2011, it's clearly not optimal. I guess what it goes to show is that there's definitely room for improvement over the old de facto standard on the market. So I'm glad to see new players with their take on powdered coral food supplements. While there are other high quality powdered coral foods, ranges from both Aquaforest and Vitalis, which I've covered both of on my channel before, today we're going to be looking at the new kid on the block, and that's the Reef Revolution Polyp Feast product. First up, Reef Revolution is founded out of Sydney, Australia. They're an Australian-owned business, and they really hit the scene in mid-2019. Speaking with Nathan, their founder, he created the Polyp Feast recipe a few years ago, though at that time it was purely for his own use, so it didn't go through the full drying process that's required to convert it to a nice powder that can be kept with decent shelf life. A lot of the attention of the design process of the product went into ensuring that the particle size would not result in the powder dissolving completely into liquid form. The larger particles mean that the feeding should be more readily able to be captured by corals or even small fish, as well as being able to be captured by mechanical filtration, meaning that there should be less of an impact on tank nutrient levels overall. Just to clear up some misinformation that I think is out there, you need to understand that every single food that you add to your tank will contain phosphate. Any food product claiming otherwise is simply lying. Phosphate is a building block of organic compounds that make up food. So without it, it's not food, to put it simply. However, Reef Revolution's approach to a larger particle size seems at face value to be a good strategy to mitigating the issues of excess nutrients entering the water column and breaking down, if paired with decent mechanical filtration and a skimmer. There's another iteration of the product called Polyp Feast Probiotic. While I've not tried that product, it claims to include nitrifying and denitrifying bacteria, presumably in spore form, that would activate upon contact with water. An innovative approach for sure. I'd like to see more information on the exact strains of bacteria used and whether it makes any difference in an already cycled reef tank's ability to process nutrients in the water column. The approach reminds me of some of the probiotic salts that are on the market, which have similar claims. But again, until there's any evidence or testing provided, I'll reserve judgment on those. One other very noteworthy point on Reef Revolutions Polyp Feast is the dosage instructions, being 1/4 teaspoon or 1/2 gram for every 100 litres of tank volume for a lightly stocked tank, or 1/2 teaspoon or 1 gram for every 100 litres in a heavily stocked tank. This dosage is quite a fair bit higher than any of the other coral food supplements I've come across, and could be a result of the aforementioned larger particle size. When I asked Reef Revolution about this, they said that the dosage was fine-tuned for what worked well with their test systems. However, they also encourage people to fine-tune what works in their aquarium and their feeding schedule, whilst paying attention, of course, to your nutrient levels, being nitrate and phosphate. For the price, the amount you receive in a standard 30-gram container is very competitive with many of the other products on the market, potentially quite a bit cheaper. Of course, that also depends on how much you dose. So the last thing to talk about is how my tank responds to Reef Revolution. And I have to say, very well. Most of the corals have a very clear feeding response when it enters the water column, whether I target feed or broadcast feed. It also seems to get my fish pretty excited. I've been using Reef Revolution since December 2019, albeit I mix it with other products most of the time. But anyone who watches my channel regularly knows that I like to feed heavy, and I feed a broad spectrum of different products. Overall, I have no issue recommending Reef Revolutions Polyp Feast as a coral food supplement. My only real criticism is the same as what I continue to push for amongst all aquarium supplement providers, and that is to not shy away from providing transparent information about the ingredients of your products, and to actively pursue independent scientific testing from which the results can be shared, and we can potentially learn how to best replicate what's readily available in nature, and maybe even one day improve upon it. I hope you found this video helpful. Please subscribe to the channel if you like the video and want to support what I do. It really helps out a lot. My name is Marcus, and you've been watching the Reef Nerd YouTube channel. Bye for now.